Hello and welcome to Presbyterian Polity through Lancaster Theological Seminary for the summer of 2019. My name is Michael Wilson and I'll be the instructor for this course. I'm happy that I know most of you, but for those of you that I haven't met face-to-face yet, I'd like to provide a little introduction to myself and just a little bit about the website. I've been teaching at Lancaster Seminary since 2008, where I've been doing this polity class for the last decade. And also for several years now, I am the instructor or co-instructor for the Developing Leaders class, which every incoming student takes. And so it's my privilege to interact with now pretty much every Master of Divinity student at Lancaster Theological Seminary. If we haven't met one another, then I look forward to meeting you this coming August, or if you are in town, I am available throughout the summer if you would desire to get together face-to-face and get to know one another a little bit more. I'm available via Zoom or via email or via text or phone call if that helps you through this class. I will be in Lancaster for most of the summer, except for just about a week where I am in Amsterdam and around the Netherlands for some work on my PhD program. Even there, I'll be available via email. And I will have, of course, your course work set up for you before I depart for that trip. A little bit about myself. I am a Presbyterian pastor, was ordained in 1996, and then spent 4.5 years as an associate pastor of the Claremont Presbyterian Church in Decatur, Georgia. In 2001, I came here to Lancaster County to pastor the Chestnut Level Presbyterian Church, which is in the southern end of Lancaster County, and spent almost 15 years there. Along the way and as part of that pastorate, I got more deeply involved in the life of Donegal Presbytery as moderator and vice moderator, and as the assistant stated clerk. And then in 2014, I was elected to be stated clerk of this presbytery and left the pastorate of Chestnut Level Presbyterian Church, and in 2015 began my service as stated clerk of this presbytery. In that capacity, I, along with a team of other leaders, work to support the ministry and mission of the pastors and congregations of the Presbyterian churches in York and Lancaster and Chester County. There are 49 churches, a number of immigrant fellowships, and just about 13,000 Presbyterians. And we take a team approach to supporting those congregations and their leaders and helping them to do those things which they do better together. I also teach at Lancaster Theological Seminary and am working on a PhD in missional ecclesiology at the Vrije Universiteit in Amsterdam. In that capacity, I am studying reformed decision-making, particularly the development of it with an eye towards how Presbyterian churches can make faithful and generative decisions for the rapidly changing context in which all of us do ministry. This involves a look at our polity and particularly at Robert's Rules. And so I am both learning historically how we have been shaped and also thinking about the future and how we can, as Presbyterians, have a polity that serves the mission of God in the context in which we find ourselves. I find this topic exciting. I think it's important. I think the shaping of us as people who understand our structures and who live in them faithfully with a critical lens towards how they interact with the context in which we do ministry is a good place for us to do deep learning and reflection and preparation so that we can be well prepared to serve the purposes of God and serve congregations and serve the gospel wherever you find yourself. I look forward to the exploration of that through this class, the ways that we'll form a learning community together and all that can go on as we travel this journey together over the next 10 weeks. I will remind you that this is a 3-credit class, and thus it is a full workload. If we were to meet face-to-face over the course of the next 10 weeks, we'd spend about 4 hours together, plus work outside that. And I encourage you to think about that as you engage in this class, because it is a full 3-credit class. As you look at the website, you'll see that when they're all there, there'll be 11 sections. There's an introductory section, and then there's a section for each week. I will try to have not just the week that we're on, but also the week ahead up on the website, and this will enable you, if you are going to be out of town, to work ahead. My goal really is to get most of it up and let you work at your own pace, and then we can interact in ways that are helpful to you as you learn this. We will meet virtually together twice. Once the Tuesday of our first week, which will primarily be helping us to get to know one another and establish relationships so that we can communicate well as we're working through this material. The other is in the 5th week, and for that, my goal is for us to attempt to actually work through practicing moderating meetings. It'll be a little bit of a challenge because we'll be doing that virtually, but I think a good learning environment for all of us as we work together. I would encourage you to ask with any questions that you have about navigating the Moodle site and working through the material. There is a lot of written material by the Presbyterian Church about our polity and theology and structure, and I will try to give you resources that you can interact with here or take with you into the future as you work on this material and work on becoming proficient with the polity of the Presbyterian Church. My one word, which you'll hear me say again to you, would be one of the things I've discovered is that many of us bring a set of assumptions about what it means to be Presbyterian. And part of what I think happens in this class is that we begin to reflect on what those assumptions are and how they interact with what Presbyterians say about who they are themselves. And that can be a rich place for us to learn and grapple and interact with one another as we uncover those things and fit those pieces together. I encourage you to ask with any questions, to reach out if there's any way that I can be helpful with this material or with your call and with your development towards where you are headed in ministry. And I look forward to these next 10 weeks together.